into another episode of the Clapp Trap. We have the weekend review episode. It is Monday. Time to start off the week strong. It was a good weekend for me personally with the gambling side of things. I guess I'm a little 50-50 when it comes to the gambling competition. But overall, the gambling competition was great this weekend. All the guys had great picks, so I hope you followed along on Friday's episode or on the Twitter at the Clapp Trap and was able to get yourself some money from everything that was gambled on this weekend. But it was a fun weekend for football specifically. We also had the Bruins doing well. We had the Celtics doing well for those of us in the hometown side of things. The Patriots were off with a bye weekend, so you could just watch football or do whatever you wanted to do on your Sunday and not have to worry about a crucial Patriots game as they're going to get set up for the Jets in this week 11 that's coming up here. And I'm excited to be able to break down that throughout this week. We will get into that as the week goes on. But man, like I said, crazy weekend in the world of football. I myself actually was at a retirement party yesterday for some of the games and everything like that. I'm still my obsessed self. I got my phone up right there next to me wherever I go, and I'm watching the game on whatever app I'm using at that time to get whatever game it is. Got to get the red zone in, got to watch all the updated sports scores and things that are going on there. So even at a retirement party, yes, I can be that guy. I try and be as discreet as possible. You don't want to upset people, especially in those kind of scenarios. People don't understand how obsessed some individuals are with sports. They just don't get it. And I get that. I understand. Being a fan of sports, you are a fanatic. You are a crazy person. I am one of those crazy people right here in the flesh. So that's why I'm here talking about this kind of stuff. I'm obsessed with it. But it was nice to be at the retirement party. It was nice to see people being, celebrated for their accomplishments over a long career. Being able to see what those people have done, how many people their lives they influenced, what they were able to succeed at, and it was nice to be able to see. It was also nice to be able to see people coming to the realization and being at peace with the next chapter of their life, moving on to other things. They've already done great things in their career, so they're ready to move on to the next stage of their life. I'm happy to see that kind of stuff. I was very happy to be involved with that kind of thing. And I can't be thankful enough for that kind of stuff. But up until last week, I honestly was thinking Tom Brady might have been regretting his decision to come away from retirement, talking about retirement to start off the show here. But now I'm starting to wonder if the Bucs are back. Are the Bucs back after that win in Germany yesterday against a Seahawks team that, it is surprisingly actually very good this year with Geno Smith leading the way, Geno time out in Seattle. That's been pretty crazy. You had an interesting game overall, I would say, out in Germany. First regular season, any game in Germany, I believe, or first regular season game. Do they have some kind of exhibition game out there? I don't think so. But up until last week, I thought Tom Brady was out of it. I think a lot of people did. I mean, the everything going on with him off the field, obviously, and his head probably just not being in it. You had a come from behind victory last week for them where it looked like Brady was just getting beat up left and right. Their offense just wasn't clicking, and they were able to do that. Well, Brady was able to do his normal thing at the very end of the game, drive down there and get you the score that you needed to win the game. He's done that for his entire career, basically. That's what he did. Then you come to this week, and I'm still thinking, man, Tom Brady, he's just not feeling it. He's not into it. Now he has to fly and go all the way to Germany to play a game against the Seahawks. Seahawks pretty good this year. Going into the game at 6-4, they had done what they needed to do. They were winning games the way that they could manage those games. But instead, you had a Tom Brady-led Buccaneers squad that came out there and handled business and were able to, pretty much dominate a game, minus those, the garbage time touchdown, I would say, at the end of the game that made it look a little bit closer. you had the 21-3 lead in the fourth quarter after they scored. The Buccaneers did. So great job by them, able to beat up on a team that, they had at least a good record. Seattle Seahawks, somewhat legit, I guess you could say, by their record. And besides that attempt to Tom Brady, that ridiculous attempted throw by Fournette to Tom Brady where he slips and he falls down and they get an easy interception, probably the worst play call we've seen since maybe, I don't know, the Indianapolis Colts tried to do that fake punt, weird formation thing where they only had 3 down linemen or offensive linemen and everybody's spread out wide against the Patriots. And that was absolutely the worst play call I've ever seen in my entire life. This Tom Brady pass call was one of the worst calls that I've seen in recent year. What are you even thinking, especially on that field, which if we talk about that for a second, that field in Germany was not ready at all for 300-pound giant human beings. That seemed pretty clear. They did not have the field set up ready for it. It was all dug out immediately in the first quarter. People were slipping left and right. Tom Brady slipped on this pass play that I'm talking about here. He went over, he afterwards went to Twitter and was talking on social media about the fact that if he hadn't fallen down, if he hadn't slipped, he was going to moss that cornerback and take it to the house, which he's kind of funny, I guess. Tom Brady, he's got his jokes, but man, was that an ugly play overall. They beat up on them, like I said, 21-3 in the fourth quarter, and then a couple of scores made it look a lot closer than it actually was in that one. But oh boy, Tom, I don't know. We got to work on things. Like I said, the field was terrible, but just don't put Brady, don't put the 45-year-old man out there trying to run a route. I know maybe you're trying to do something fun when you're out there in Germany. You got to go all the way there. Maybe try and make a highlight play, something you've never done in your career. Go moss somebody, Brady, and bring it to the end zone. No, he falls. He looks like a doofus, and they get the ball and go the other way. It didn't matter. It didn't matter at the end of the day. You still had a win for the Buccaneers, and now you got to wonder, like I said, are the Bucs back? Is this Buccaneers team ready to go? Now getting back to 500 after being on a 3-game slide, winning 2 games in a row. And like I said, that basically come from behind, very end of the game win against the Rams was huge for them. Now they're going to play after their bye week. They're going to get some time off. They're going to have 5-5 record going into a game at the Browns, which they should not still have Watson back as far as I know. I think he doesn't come back until week 13. So now you got the Bucs playing a team in the Browns that still have Jacoby Brissett. They stink. And I think that the Bucs will be able to beat up on them. You then play a game on Monday night against the Saints at home. And I mean, who knows? Who knows what they're going to be able to do? So they have a tough schedule, but are the Bucs back? Is Brady back? Are we going to have another attempted run for a Super Bowl for Tom Brady? I don't know. We're going to find out. I don't think that it's going to. I think that there's a lot of roadblocks in his way this year, more than he had last year or the year before that. So I think that it's going to be really tough to do. But hey, you got to start thinking about them as a team in the NFC that is going to be vying for a really long playoff run. That just seems like it's going to be the case. So congratulations, Tom Brady. But man, don't do that again. Don't do the fake to the running back and then he pulls up, Fournette tries to throw a pass to you, especially on a horrible field. Just don't do it. Don't do it. But there were some other people that we're talking about the GOAT right there, but the greatest player of the day, I would say, was Justin Jefferson in the biggest game, the game of the week or the game of the year at this point between the Vikings and the Bills, a game in which the Vikings were able to take care of business at the very end of the game. This one was back and forth juggernaut battle. I mean, you did have Josh Allen banged up with that UCL injury in his elbow, so that was tough for him. It would make a lot of throws more difficult for him. I believe that they were reporting about it, and a lot of quarterbacks who had that injury before said that sometimes you can battle through it, you can battle through the pain, but you just won't have that zip on the ball that you're used to. And I think that showed with Josh Allen in this one. He obviously did a lot with his legs, but he also showed that he's got that, stupidness in him. That's a word. still left where he's throwing those picks. He's making weird plays. That fumble at his own one, trying to get out of the end zone to avoid the safety. That was a crazy one. But Justin Jefferson, I can't talk enough about this kid. He is insane. He's the best wide receiver in the game right now, especially with Devontae Adams going to the Raiders. And even though he's still doing good with Derek Carr, I think Justin Jefferson is hands down the best wide receiver in the game right now. I mean, what he was able to do in that one, unbelievable, especially when you know that they want to pass to Justin Jefferson. Obviously, they want to get him the ball and see what he can do with it. So I was surprised and impressed with Justin Jefferson's performance. I mean, that one-handed catch, we could argue that that was the best catch that we've ever seen. I mean, what he was able to do, going back, hand on the ball, defenders trying to rip it away. He pulls it away as he's coming to the ground and catches that for a huge gain on, I believe it was on a 4th down, if I have this correct here. So monstrous catch, a monstrous performance by the best receiver in the game, in the best game of definitely the week, if not the year. I'm going to say the year so far between the Vikings and the Bills. He was able to stand out. Justin Jefferson was impressive game. Insane. 190 something yards receiving on 10 catches. He had that touchdown. He was an inch away from getting a second touchdown as well, and really making it one of the most historic performances overall. So I don't know, great stuff from him. I will say, though, the one thing that I hated in his performance, the one thing, and I'm hating this trend so much in all of sports right now, not only in the NFL, but in football all around the world. Soccer players are doing this all around the world. What is with the fake hamstring injury celebration? What is with any fake injury celebration? I don't understand it. I don't get it. Is it cool? Is it the cool new thing? Am I getting that old where I just don't understand some of these celebrations? Why are you spitting in the faces of the injury gods by pulling up with a fake hamstring? He's doing his gritty celebration where he's throwing those arms to the side. He's doing his goofy little dance. And then he starts grabbing his hamstring and he's jumping along like he has an injury based off the celebration. He even faked out the broadcasters. They were going off about how, oh man, did he just injure himself? And that celebration, did he just injure himself? We got to look into this a little bit more. Hold on. Don't go to a timeout. Don't go to a commercial right now. Did Justin Jefferson just injure himself in this play? No, he didn't injure himself. This is just a ridiculous new celebration trend that I don't understand. Like I said, you got the soccer players, the women's soccer players are going out there faking injuries after goals and then working their butts off to the cameras. I don't understand what this whole thing is about. Is no one superstitious anymore? I don't understand. Yes, Vance, I get it. Stop shaking your head at this. I guess you're younger and you understand this generation more than I do, but does no one get superstitious anymore? Is that being old? Do old people get superstitious? Because I would never go out there and fake an injury and just spit in the face of superstition just like that. I'm pretty sure Jamar Chase did that 3 or 4 weeks ago, was doing a fake injury. You know what? He's injured now. He's injured now because you don't do that. You don't go out there and spit in the face of, a possible, not only season-ending, career-ending injury. I don't know what you're going to do. If you pull up with a terrible hamstring injury, an ACL, whatever you want to call it, just dumb to me. I don't understand it. So maybe I'm just superstitious. I don't know. But is anyone else watching these fake injury celebrations and being like, what are you doing? If you will look like such an idiot if you go out and get injured now. If somehow you pull a real hamstring injury, everyone, myself, I'll be leading the way, will be laughing at you for that stupid celebration that you had. So I don't know. Maybe I'm too old now. Maybe I'm the old guy yelling at the clouds and not understanding change. But this change is stupid to me. It needs to stop. I don't understand it. Where are we going? Where are we going with these celebrations? Get away from the fake injury celebrations. I think that's ridiculous. Now, the next teams, the guys that I want to talk about next are a team that had to deal with some major injuries themselves this year. They had to deal with losing out on their quarterback for 3+ plus games, right? Or no, I guess it was only 3 games really at the end of the day. But the Miami Dolphins absolutely whooped up on the Cleveland Browns yesterday. They beat them 39-17, I believe it was the final score on that one. If I'm looking at it correctly, 39-17. So they were absolute monsters in that performance against a Browns team that, once again, I mean, they don't have much going on when you have Jacoby Brissett leading the way. They do need their scumbag quarterback in Deshaun Watson to come back and save the day. And that team will be good once they have him in there. I believe that. I mean, he's still going to be a good quarterback, regardless of how scummy he is off the field. That's just how the NFL works. He's going to be fine. But this Miami Dolphins team, this team that had to deal with Tua Tagovailoa going out with a horrific head injury in back-to-back weeks, basically. And we all saw how scary that was with him laying on the turf and his hands all messed up and everything like that. But this team now, this Miami Dolphins team, which Patriots right in our backyard, is 7-3 now after whooping up on the Browns. They are 7-0 in games where Tua started and finished the game. This team, I mean, they are absolutely beasting from an offensive standpoint because of the amount of weapons that they had. They now just got Jeff Wilson, who they traded for from the 49ers, to bring him in, and he's been an absolute, or he just was an absolute beast in that game. I think he rushed for 120 yards in that one, had a touchdown after having a touchdown in the first week where they just got him. So they have now him and Mostert. I mean, both former 49er running backs. That's nice for them to come back and be on a team together. But they also have, obviously, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, two absolutely beast wide receivers that in the league, I mean, if you go, you would have to put them up in the top tier duo wide receivers in the league right now. And you got Tua, yes. He is a quarterback where I mean, I have to start believing in it, I guess, but I still don't believe that Tua at the end of the day is a legitimate quarterback that you can trust consistently week in and week out. We're going to find out. I mean, like I said, they're 7-0 with him in games where he started and finished. So he's got to have something, obviously, that's legit. But I don't know. I'm interested to see in a couple of weeks when they play against the 49ers. That's just a team. That's a battle of the I still don't trust your quarterback, but you have so many damn weapons. How could you not be good? Right? That's that battle. That's the battle between those two teams. I don't trust in Tua. I don't trust in Jimmy Garoppolo, but both of those teams have so many damn weapons. How could they not be good? That's what that battle is going to be. I can't wait to see that game in a couple of weeks. That'll be exciting as the Dolphins continue their attempt to take over the East. They now have the lead after that Bills team lost to the Vikings, and they're at 6-4. The Dolphins are at 7-3. This is quite the division that we have, the Patriots have right now. Patriots are sitting in last place at 5-4 and about to go up against the 6-4 Jets. We'll see how that goes. I'm excited to get into that, like I said, but man, Dolphins, great job by them. Beat up on a Browns team that is not that great, but you beat up on them. 39 points in the game. I mean, that's just an absolute beatdown for the Dolphins. And like I said, they have been on a tear whenever Tua is in the game. They've now scored at least 31 points in their last 3 games, going back to the Lions game at the end of October. They won that one 31-27. Then they beat the Bears 35-32. So the defense isn't looking too good in those ones against some tough teams there or tough teams to give up that many points to, but you then score 39 against the Browns. They're only going up in the point totals. Miami Dolphins, are they legit? I still don't believe in your quarterback. I don't call me stupid, call me crazy, whatever it is. The Patriots will see him later on in the year near the end of the season, and we'll see how that goes, but I still just don't believe in Tua. I don't know. Like I said, call me crazy, whatever it is, but speaking of other teams that are interesting with big records, I guess this category would actually be the fraud teams with 6 or more wins. You had the Giants winning 24-16 over the Texans, just barely able to handle that team. And now they're sitting at a record of 6-2, I believe it is. Is it 6? No, 7-2. I'm sorry. 7-2 for the Giants right now. That one's a team where I just feel like, I mean, No offense to the Giants fans out there. No offense. Big Tone, one of my guys that I brought onto the show many times, huge Giants fan. I feel for you guys. You're feeling like it's going to be a good season for you, but I just don't see how they are going to actually be able to win games when you get into the playoffs and you're playing against consistently good football teams week after week at the end of the season. I think that they have been in these games. Obviously, the re-emergence of Saquon Barkley has been huge for the Giants. Their defense has been okay, pretty good. Daniel Jones looks a heck of a lot better under their new, coaching system. Now getting away from Judge, who's on the Patriots, of course. They seem to be able to handle themselves in a lot of these games. But even like I said, that Houston team did give them a little bit of trouble, I would say, throughout, with Damian Pierce still doing his thing. I would just think that, coming off of the bye week, it would have been a more dominating performance for them. I thought that they were going to be able to do good. Like I said, Damian Pierce had a great game. I took him for the under. I thought the Giants were going to be able to handle them. They weren't able to do that. Before the bye week, they lost 27-13 to that Seahawks team that I still also think is kind of a little bit frauds as well. They could be in that category of they could be frauds, but they have a good record. And we're going to find out how that goes. But hey, Giants still win. You're still at 7-2. You're feeling good about your position in the NFC. I'm sure that you'll make it into the playoffs at least. But I still think that you're a fraud team. I do. I think that the Giants are a fraud team, and they'll get exposed when they go up against good competition in the future. They have to play the Lions next, which is nothing. I would expect them to beat the Lions in that next week game in week 11. But then after that, you're playing against the Cowboys on Thanksgiving, and we'll see how things go for the Giants in that one. I think it'll be a tough one. Regardless of how, the Cowboys have been up and down recently. I think now that they have Dak back, it'll be a situation where the Giants won't be able to handle them. But the other team that is also, I believe, a fraud with a decent record is the Titans. Titans won 17-10 over the Broncos, who are the worst. By the way, Russell Wilson, I don't care about that big 60-something yard touchdown pass. Russell Wilson stinks this year with the Broncos. The dangerous one is not that dangerous on the football field, at least, but they were able to win, and now the Titans are 6-3, and I still think that they're frauds, right? Tannehill at the quarterback helm, I don't think that he's legit. Their defense has had some injuries and been up and down there. Derrick Henry is always going to be a beast, obviously, but I don't think that you're getting much from the other parts of the offense. Obviously, they lost A.J. Brown. They haven't really been able to fill that hole with a good receiving weapon, I don't think, for Tannehill. And so, I mean, that's another team that's in that category of fraud with a good record to me. I would put the Giants in there. I would put the Titans in there. I would probably put the Seahawks in there. I know it's been a fun team, the Seahawks, the Geno experiment, all that kind of stuff. They've been fun, but do I trust them at all? No, I don't. I think that they get exposed to as they go up against bigger opponents. And when you have to go up against the top tier teams in the playoffs, I don't think that you're going to get much. So the category of fraud teams with 6 wins or more, you got the Giants, you got the Titans, and you got the Seahawks, in my opinion, fraud teams. Fraud teams. That's just what they are. That's what they are at this point. But when it comes to fraud franchises, I think that there's another team that takes the cake. I mean, this Colts team, this Indianapolis Colts team is just one of the most amusing franchises I've seen as I've been alive. I don't know how you could get much more amusing than, first of all, that weirdo guy, I think he's a scumbag, pretty sure he is, Jim Irsay running the show, and just the roller coaster ride of emotions that fan base has probably had to go on. And especially since, and I was talking about this on Twitter with my boy Andrew, who we'll bring onto the show later on this week, but I mean, since they put that AFC finalist banner up, has there been any more of an amusing franchise, of a fraud franchise since then, when they went up and did the AFC finalist banner after losing to us in the AFC championship? I mean, just terrible karma and all of that coming your way. It seemed just no reason to be putting up a banner of that kind of nature, I don't think. But anyways, this Colts team extremely amusing. The whole situation, if you haven't been following along with it, comical. Comical is the word to describe the way that the Indianapolis Colts have been running their franchise. I mean, from firing their offensive coordinator because they couldn't figure things out. Frank Reich was going to be the number one guy there, figure all the situations out. Then Reich goes and demotes Matt Ryan to the bench for the rest of the season. Their veteran quarterback that they brought in to bring this team to the promised land. I thought that they were going to actually be pretty legit this year with Matt Ryan. Turns out not to be the case. You bench him supposedly for the season, right? Then they get whooped up on by the Patriots. And, with Ellinger in there as the rookie quarterback or whatever. And thank you for that. We appreciate that over here in New England, you guys starting Ellinger and allowing or throwing him to the wolves that is Belichick and his defense. Really appreciate that. Basically gave us a win there. I thought it would have been a lot tougher of a performance if you had to go up against Matt Ryan in that one, but they didn't want to do that. So glad that happened. Then they lose, they fire their head coach, and now you're going to go out there and you're going to bring in Jeff Saturday, who is a Colts legend, former center for the team back in the Peyton Manning days. Guy was an absolute monster of a center and knew what he was doing, knew how to call out plays, knew how to pick apart defenses, knew what he was doing on the offensive side of the ball. You bring him in, and this guy has not coached at any level besides his son's high school football team. This guy's not been at the college level. He's not certainly done anything at the pro level from a coaching standpoint. And you bring in Jeff Saturday, which immediately brings all the questions about why didn't you go after a more deserving candidate, a more deserving coaching candidate, and you instead bring in this former player to bring your team back to where it needs to be. I don't know. That's just Jim Irsay doing Jim Irsay things, I guess, and creating a controversy there. Once again, like I said, very amusing, very comical, this franchise here. But then at the last second, Jeff Saturday, due to Jim Irsay's wishes, throws Matt Ryan back into the game after he had been benched for the entire season by Frank Reich. And now you got Matt Ryan going in there to start a game instead of Ellinger last second. And guess what? They pull off the win. They're able to beat a team in the Las Vegas Raiders that stink, by the way. Congratulations, McDaniels. You got a real stinker there out in Las Vegas. They beat them 25-20 on a last second. That was actually a pretty good game overall. Last second there, you had the Raiders going back and forth. They had, obviously, Devontae Adams was doing a great job for them, had a huge touchdown catch for them. But the Colts didn't go away. Jonathan Taylor back to a last year version of Jonathan Taylor, was able to really do some things in that one. And they were able to win that game. Crazy to think. After all that roller coaster of emotions, now all of a sudden the Colts get a win. And though they're only at 4-5-1 on the season, I don't know. Are they going to look better now under Jeff Saturday and getting Matt Ryan back in there for a second chance at his last go-around on his final team, we would all assume, before he retires? We're going to find out. That's an interesting little storyline to keep an eye on. But still, just at the end of the day, what an amusing franchise. What an amusing system from top down, from owner to coaching to whatever. It's just a weird roller coaster for them. So I feel bad for the Colts fans out there who have had to deal with that. But hey, maybe now you're going to be able to go on a little bit of a run here, like I said, with the new coach, with getting Matt Ryan back in there. The only problem is next game they play in week 11, it's a home game against the Eagles. So good luck with that one. Good luck for the Colts about keeping that momentum going. I don't think that it's going to be the case. Lastly, the last game that I wanted to kind of go over from the weekend recap of the NFL here. We had the Chargers playing against the 49ers, and I got to be honest with you guys, I feel a little bad for the Chargers at this point. I mean, after losing that one, they are now at 5-4. I was surprised, actually, to see that they were 5-3, the way that their season has gone with all the injuries that they've had. But I feel bad at this point for the Chargers, and more specifically, Justin Herbert. Young kid, trying to make his way up, good quarterback. Guy has got it. I think that Justin Herbert has it, and he knows what to do out there, and he was slinging it around the field. But when you go up against a team consistently, or when you go up against teams, I should say, in the NFL consistently without having basically any weapons besides Austin Eckler, I mean, what do you expect from that offense? What do you expect from that team? They're missing out on Mike Williams. They're missing out on Keenan Allen for the entire season. They haven't had him. They have, Guyton, another one of their receivers, has been out for basically the entire year. They lost Joey Bosa for the majority of the season. I think he's going to come back next week, but that's a huge loss on the defensive side. And I guess if you want to put the loss of J.C. Jackson in there as well, I don't, because I think he's a fraud, but J.C. Jackson, another one, a big signing in the offseason, huge contract. Go out there. He's injured. He's out. So you have injuries on both sides of the ball, major parts of the team. Sure, you still have Khalil Mack and Darwin James on that defense. They're holding down the fort, but you're missing out on Joey Bosa and J.C. Jackson. I mean, that is a stacked defense on paper if J.C. Jackson is legitimate. And then on the other side of the ball, like I said, you're missing out on your two number one wide receivers, basically, because Mike Williams has put himself in that conversation, if you ask me, as being able to be, he's like a 1B to Keenan Allen's 1A, I guess. I don't know. They're both number one receivers, if you ask me, when they're both healthy. So you had that they had to deal with. You're going up against a 49ers team that is, they've got good defense. They've got good offense. Their quarterback is still a little iffy. Like I said, I don't really trust him. But they have so many damn weapons. Once again, how could they not be good? You just traded for Christian McCaffrey. You got Elijah Mitchell, who came back and was doing solid in this one. Had some over 80 rushing yards in this one. He was solid throughout. You have Deebo Samuel, who is one of the most electric wide receivers out there and able to be versatile and used in so many different ways, especially in that Shanahan offense. You have George Kittle, who's one of the best tight ends in the game right now. Brandon Ayuk, another great, even though he had a bunch of drops and bad plays in that game last night, he's another really solid wide receiver. I mean, sheesh, this team has weapons on weapons on weapons. And I was only talking about the offense. They have great defensive weapons as well. The other Bosa, Nick Bosa on that defense, Hofunga, if that's how you pronounce that game, that safety that they have, great player as well. They have some really good defensive players as well. So the 49ers are legit as hell. And I still think that the Chargers could have and would have beat that team if they had had a couple of their injured weapons back. If you just had Mike Williams. I don't know what Keenan Allen is going to be this year with his hamstring injury. He's been off and on. Got back in the game the other week, and then immediately goes back out and is injured once again. So I don't even know if you're going to get Keenan Allen back. But if you gave him Mike Williams back, on top of the fact that they have that Joshua Palmer kid is not terrible, but he's not really a legit weapon. He's definitely not a number one. And then you have DeAndre Carter as well. Not bad weapons. Everett, the tight end, he got injured in this one, but he is not a terrible weapon. But they're not the top-tier talents that this team is used to having with Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. So I feel bad. I feel bad for the Chargers overall. I mean, you go out there, you're in an extremely tough division, and you have to deal with the Chiefs. And, well, I guess we thought it was a tough division with the Chiefs and the Broncos and then the Raiders, but the Raiders stink. The Broncos stink. The Chiefs are a wagon. And then you got the Chargers, who have been on injury trouble. So tough for them overall. Great win by, the 49ers, able to, go out there, take care of business once again. Team with a ton of weapons. Can't wait to see what they are against the Miami Dolphins, because I think that those teams are exactly built the same. They're the same exact team. And now we get to see them go against each other. Tons of weapons, questionable quarterback, good on offense, good on defense. I think that that'll be a good week to watch some football. I think that that'll be a great NFL game for that one. So I was happy to see I guess Jimmy and the 49ers continuing to do good, because I think that that's a fun team to watch going forward. But I don't know. I feel bad for the Chargers. Feel bad for the Chargers overall about what they were able to do. All right, that's going to do it for today's show. We're just doing the NFL recap today. I will be getting into more Celtics topics, Bruins topics, and things like that throughout the week. We'll have to break down the Patriots matchup with the Jets coming up. this weekend, week 11. They're coming off a bye in 5-4. Can they continue the momentum against a quarterback that they were just able to beat up on a couple of weeks ago? That'll be very interesting and a lot of topics to talk about. But I'm just happy to be back on this week. Hope everyone has a great week, a good start to your Monday, a good start to this excellent November week. Coming up close to my favorite holiday of the year, Thanksgiving, in a couple of weeks. That'll be insane. I can't wait for it. Food, family, turkey, football, friends, all that kind of stuff, all the F's that you want. Love that kind of stuff. So big happy for that. But that's going to do it, like I said, for the show. This will all be up as a podcast wherever podcasts are found. Just search the Clapp Trap. We're also up on YouTube. If you're not watching me already, search the Clapp Trap. You'll be able to follow along. Just hit that subscribe button, and you'll be able to get notified whenever I post new videos on there. I'm also on Instagram and Twitter at the Clapp Trap. Going to be trying some new fun things, maybe involving my dogs. And some gambling picks. And if you're just interested in the gambling competition or any of the picks, whether you want to fade or follow the guys and myself, great weekend for us. So I will be talking about that throughout the week as well. But like I said, I hope you guys have a great week. Let's start it off strong. I'll talk to you later.